Let's take a closer look at what happened in Iran, and more specifically, let's look at the video I made about it, and let's examine, is what I said true? I'm about to say something that might shock you, so brace yourself. There is no truth, period. There is no one objective truth. None. There never was, and there never will be. This is not possible. Now, this is true whether we're looking at world events, or whether we're talking about spiritual matters, or whether we're talking about how we as individuals go through the world. And we're under this misapprehension that there is objective truth, and either you have it or you don't. And that, as well, is not true. What we have here are infinite worldviews, curated through millions of experiences over billions, quadrillions of experiences that we accumulate in our lives. And what all of these things do is they build up layers of perception. And that perception dictates how we perceive what's going on, how we process it, and the conclusions that we come to. And this is why you have the whole world haggling and debating on what is true and what isn't. Now, there are some objective truths. There are some truths and there are some lies. That is not up for debate. A person's actions, did they do an action or not? Those things are true. Historical things that happen, the actual actions are true. Bombs were dropped on a foreign country. That is true. But how we perceive and interpret that act is going to be wildly different depending on who's perceiving it and what their lifetime of experiences, conditionings, desires, worldview, all of that will change what you perceive as truth. That is why you have heard me say time and time again, two things. Number one, what I am offering you is a perspective based on my lens, my worldview, my spiritual perspective. And number two, you do not have to believe me. You don't. Now, the majority of people in my comments, they get it. And they're here because they appreciate my perspective. They like it. It brings them comfort. It brings them peace. And that's why I do what I do. I am sharing my perspective, my worldview, my interpretation of events, and mirroring that with what I receive from Spirit. I share that perspective because I know it brings peace. It's brought me peace. And now I'm offering that to you if you want it. But then I get so many other comments, hundreds, literally, some days thousands of comments from people who just want to argue with me. And it's kind of annoying and it's kind of frustrating and it makes me laugh and it also makes me sad because you're missing the point. We don't have to agree. And that's kind of the harsh truth when we're talking about big, scary world events. We actually don't have to agree. What these world events are for is to help us further refine how we see the world. They're to help us to change on an internal level. The point is not to haggle over all the details and all the perspectives. The point is to say, is my worldview helping me create the world I want to see? Or is it pushing me further into chaos and despair and anxiety? It's also helpful when we see the perspectives and worldviews of the people in our lives, because so much about healing and navigating our world is about interpersonal relationships. And when we realize that the people in our lives view the world in a fundamentally different way, that is a sign that we need to reconsider and even renegotiate the types of relationships we have, the boundaries within them, the types of trust that we give to other people. All of these things are to be further examined, not to be fought, but everything that happens out there needs to point you within. That's what the path of spiritual awakening is. What I find the most fascinating about people who want to argue with me in the comments is that at the core, what you're really trying to do is to get me to engage in your panic with you. You want me to validate your fears. You want me to join you in your pandemonium. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not. I have worked for literal decades of my life to find peace, beginning with severe depression at age 9, and I'm now 43. I have worked for decades of my life to heal from the conditioning of the family I was born into, the cult, the religion that I was raised into, the political propaganda of the 90s, of the George W. Bush era. I have worked through my entire life to awaken, to heal, to reject the perspectives that were pushed on me to find my own truth, and to find tools and ways of navigating the world, of releasing my pain, of using my pain to tell me what I think about the world, how I feel, what perspectives were put on me, which perspectives I've outgrown, which I would like to grow into and adopt. This is my life's work. This is what I do for myself. And that's why I am a happy, grounded, peaceful person who's very calm and rational whenever chaos erupts, because I've learned how to navigate the chaos and not be swept up in someone else's panic. And if it ever seems that I'm trying to convince you of a perspective that's either unintentional or it's not true, because I don't need you to believe me to bolster my worldview. I do not. And I don't need you to agree with me for my sake or for yours. I'm simply offering a perspective. This perspective is helpful to me, and I thought it might be helpful to you. And if it is, love that journey for you. And if it's not, that's okay, scroll on. But you're not going to tear me off of my throne. You're not going to do that, because I've built this through decades of work. Now, occasionally, I do get some of the actual facts wrong, and you always see me come out here and backtrack and apologize. Sometimes I get the details wrong, and when I have more information, it changes my perspective, and I come back out and I apologize and I share a new perspective. That's just normal. That's life. So while I am open to the fact that sometimes I'm wrong, and I'm aware of the fact that sometimes I'm wrong, and I do the work to make up for it, I'm really not interested in a debate in the comments, okay? I'm not. You are entitled to your perspective as much as I am entitled to mine, and we don't have to agree, and you can find other places to have that discussion, and I love that. At the end of the day, I am not here to start a cult. I am not here to create an army of people who think just like I do. I am not trying to force anyone into my worldview. I am a teacher. I am a healer. I am a seer. And in ancient days, you would have called me a prophetess. What I am here to do is receive spiritual insights and combine them with my wisdom that I have earned through my life and all of my experiences that I have fought really hard to earn. So my job is to combine the two and share them in a way that is uplifting and hopeful and has the potential to do the most good. That's all. And if you don't want that, you don't have to have that. But what we are all here to do is to take in what we receive. Use discernment. This is part of that discernment. Check it against our worldview, against our gut, our intuition. Does what I'm receiving feel good to me, feel right? And most importantly, is it helping me expand, or is it making me contract? And if there's contraction, if there's some friction there, that's your sign to do a little work. Not because, oh, you have to agree with me because I'm this like magical being. It's that constriction in you shows you where you are at war with yourself. And there's a worldview or a belief or a wound, something in there doesn't feel good, and it's inviting you to go within and figure out what that stickiness is. I modeled that in another video last night where I unpacked something that seemed like something so stupid and petty to be sad about. It probably was. But by going into that pain and that discomfort, I was able to unpack all kinds of things that helped me have a release and to see my place in the world differently from a refreshed point of view. That's what the tension and the friction is for. It's not to force people to see the world the way you do. It's to go within and say, ooh, why does that feel gross? And what do I need to unpack? So what I present to you is my worldview based on my intuition and how I view the world from decades of work to create a positive perspective where I see the highest potential in everything. Oh, and one final note for people haggling and saying, you said we weren't going to have war. Listen. There has rarely been a time in my entire life when the United States has not been bombing someone somewhere, occupying some place, at war somewhere. That has been a constant in my life. What happened last night was no different than what has been happening throughout modern history. The war we're all afraid of having is what happened in Europe in the 1940s. And that I have never been shown. But also, I did do a video 2 days ago where I said, I feel it coming. It's getting stronger. So it's up to us to fight the tide of the panic and fear. I did do that. For some reason, that video is suppressed. It's gotten a fraction of the views I usually get, but it's there. I did say it. I did share it. I did try to warn you and offer you, again, a perspective. So for those of you who get me and appreciate me, thank you. I appreciate you. I love the shit out of you. For those who don't, I am mad about it. It's okay to disagree with me. It's okay. But I'm not going to join you in your panic. Your panic is your responsibility. I've worked hard to get out of mine. That's your job to get out of yours. So I'm offering a perspective, and if you don't want it, that's okay. You can move on. You can also sit with it. And I have offerings to help you get into the panic and help you understand it. I'm not trying to talk you out of your panic either. You can have that if you want it. I always say it's okay to feel whatever it is you want to feel. I hold space for that. Yeah, but I don't need to join you in what you feel. I got me. I'm good.